I get it, but you'll know if it's Reaper right away once you get there, right?
Well, the thing is, the Reaper would hit your main before that, and there's like a small timing, but you'll have your mothership core up like just like a few seconds after it gets in your base, unless it's proxied or something. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's your build's good against Reaper. That's like what it kills, right? Because they have to pull the Reaper back because they're getting a reactor, right? It hits when the reactor is
Yeah.
building, doesn't
Well,
it?
it actually hits like as like 2 Marines pop out. This L does.
Yeah.
So it's not like a hard counter or anything. It's just like macro out of it. What were you gonna say?
I actually, against Reaper openers, I hide my probe on their half of the map.
Right
and then
behind the
send-
net. Yeah.
No, it's usually around their third, but I hide it, and then I don't know. The timing is just kind of instinctual, but I just send it in, and if they're going to standard CC on the low ground and reactor, it like hits like just as their Marines are starting, and the Reapers on the other half of the map, and you just target the SCV building the command center, and it's just super annoying for them.
I do that too. I just put it behind their net because hardly any Terrans that open Reaper even scout there. But yours is even safer because they're definitely probably not scouting there. So
They do. I do get it scouted sometimes. Seems terrible.
try parking it behind their net. Works for me.
All right, so PVZ.
I don't know.
That's
I've
all
been trying
I
to
say.
do the whole Phoenix into Colossus thing again, and it's just like it's really hard. It's very like I have to play it so many times to get it nailed down. Like
That's what I do. Do you do Forge Fast Expand?
I do both actually.
Okay. Yeah, I just do Forge Fast Expand into for Phoenix into Colossus, and it works pretty well. And then you take your third of like before 10 minutes.
I don't really like it, but I think that's like the most standard thing you can possibly do in the matchup.
Do you make a Warp Prism?
No.
I make a Warp Prism, which is actually really nice. It's like 730 Robo, like after the second Phoenix, and then you go Immortal and Robo Bay, and then Warp Prism, and then Colossus, and you like load up 4 Zealots, and kind of hits their base as you're taking your third. Or, yeah, it hits their base as you're taking your third, so it kind of makes that a bit safer, because it puts them on the back foot, and then also you'd see if they're doing some weird early tech or whatever, if they have an early Spire down in there. But you're hallucination scouting anyway, so it's like, it's just a little extra scout, and then you kind of send around to their fourth, and you can deny their fourth sometimes. So it's just really good utility. Yeah.
Has anyone tried the... I mean, Cal, you said you're opening Phoenix. You ever try the Void Ray Colossus? You just drop the other Stargate? It's like Rain does it.
No, I don't do Void Ray Colossus, but I do sometimes do the 2 Immortal, 2 Void Ray, 2 Colossus all in.
Oh, well, that's not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about? 2 Stargate?
Yeah, like you get a quick third after the Phoenix. Well, actually, yeah, you get the Robo before and the Forge before your third, if you're gateway expanding. Then you get a quick third, and then you drop a Robotics Bay, and as soon as you're building your first Colossus, you drop your next Stargate, and you're going 2 Void Ray Colossus, and you just keep going. And you just kind of keep scouting to see if they're going to go Viper or not. And basically, if they don't go Viper or Muta,
They're dead.
they're dead. Yeah. And as soon as they go Viper, you just stop Void Rays for a little while so you can get the tech to Templar. And then you have a really good army for it.
I do Void Ray Colossus, but just off the 1 Stargate. Kind of like producing 1 Void Ray per Colossus. And then you stop at 3 Colossus, but you still make a couple more Void Rays. And that way you're safe against like Corruptor pushes.
Right.
But you can still get your Templar pretty damn fast that way as well.
Yeah. I guess it's like variations of the same thing.
Yeah.
My go-to is more on the cheesy side. I do Gateway Expand, and this is aside from those cannon rushes and other weird things I do sometimes. It's a little more of a lengthy game. I do a Gateway Expand into like Forge on the low ground like a lot of people do, but they go like Forge Stargate in a second Gateway. I do Forge to get +1 really quickly, and then 2 more gates. And I add the 2 more gates like when my Cyber Core is at like 50 to 60% Warp Gate research, and I build a Zealot in the Mothership Core, and I send that out at first to poke, and like to estimate is if they took a greedy third, like I fully commit to the pressure of warping in zealots on their side of the map to try and kill the third or force a lot of units. And even if they're not, I'll just poke up the ramp to see if they're adding spine crawlers or not. And if they're not, then I start warping in the zealots with +1 attack. And when I warp in my first round of 3 zealots, I'll take my second gas in my main. And kind of the goal of my pressure is to force them into roaches, basically, to defend it. Because +1 zealots against lings, it really shouldn't work. And then behind it, like once I feel like I can't continue to do damage with the zealot warp-ins with +1, I add my robo and my third and fourth gas at home, and then I go into like an immortal, like 2 to 3 immortal, 7 gate, like all in basically. And sometimes I get +1. Like I scout with the hallucination after my pressure's ended, and if they're going like into Hydralisks, I'll instead of getting immortals, I'll just build 1 immortal and get Colossus with my all in. And I don't know, it's just a really strong attack. Like I've beaten quite a few good players with it. I think if they misreact at all, it can be a really strong timing, and it definitely can hit before Mutalisk. So.
Okay. Any other PVZ? All right. PvP. Everybody's favorite matchup, which is actually Bones' favorite matchup. So I don't know. Go ahead, Bones. Just spill your secrets.
Oh yeah, I just do kind of like a conservative Stargate opener, which it's kind of been out of fashion for a while, but it works pretty damn well. It's like the double 15 gas, and then you go Zealot, Sentry, Stalker, Mothership Core before Stargate, so it delays the Stargate a bit, which is yeah, so it can be kind of vulnerable against an earlier Stargate, a greedier Stargate, but at the same time, they're never going to be able to have more Phoenix than you on your side of the map, so you're still okay. Then it goes into a second gate, and it's just play reactively. Like usually rally the first Phoenix to scout them, their main base, and their natural. Meanwhile, there's like I got a safety robo going down that can be cancelled depending on. It's really only ever cancelled if they're going Phoenix themselves, because that's kind of wasted resources. You could also hallucination scout, but you want to save that energy, obviously, if there's potentially being pressure.
I died to that yesterday. Practice Clan War. I used my hallucination only to see the 4-gate coming up my ramp and not having any force fields.
Yeah. Well, I'd still have 1 force field because I'd make 2 sentries. But like if you're getting like heavy 3-gate pressured, you need like consistent force fields, because if you let them up your ramp, you're probably screwed. So, the Phoenix only hits about like 10-15 seconds later than a hallucination scout would, so it's pretty good. But I guess the only problem is if they are going Phoenix themselves, you could lose that Phoenix potentially. Is kind of the main danger, but usually if they were doing that, they wouldn't be pressuring, so you could use a hallucination instead. Yeah. That's basically the open.
What's your response to 1-gate FE? Which that's a build like I do 90% of the time.
Depends when I scout it. I should usually scout it. That's actually a situation where it's really useful to hallucination scout, because scouting at 10 to 15 seconds earlier is actually really helpful, because you can cancel the second gateway. And yeah, but I just throw down the Nexus as soon as possible and go up to 3 Phoenix and then harass with that, and then go into Immortal, Void Ray into Colossus. Only like 2 Void Rays, 3 Immortals, because they're usually going to go Blink reactively. Blink into Templar or whatever. It's kind of the main option. I mean, it's only 3 Phoenix, so theoretically they wouldn't have to go Blink really, but most people usually just go Blink into Templar or whatever. But usually you can get back with the 3 Phoenix, even though your Nexus is like 60 a minute behind. It's usually actually not as big of a deal. Like that happens often to me against the 1-gate FE or whatever. Now, are you talking like 5-minute Nexus or 6-minute Nexus?
Sure, I think it's early. I think it's 5.
Because 5 minute can be problematic. that's probably the other problematic thing. That can be because especially if it's like a 5-minute nexus into like 3-gate robo all in kind of, or 4-gate robo all in, like a really quick gateway all in follow up.
How
Yeah.
Be really
Because
strong.
I feel really comfortable against macro Phoenix when I do it, because if they make more than 3 Phoenix, like I feel like I just go kill you. Like, because I have my 3 gates, right, and I have a robo. I probably made like an immortal and then stopped because I wouldn't know. I'm trying to think if I know, but sometimes I have an immortal, and then you just make stalkers and like you just kind of kill them. It's more like the Phoenix all in. I think it's harder.
So
Yeah.
how? So stepping like a little bit back, the only cheese I would wonder about how that kind of holds is kind of like a proxy Stargate. Like say like you're on Polar 9, they proxy Stargate to the right side of your main. If you're on the top. If they're making proxy like void rays and they're going 3 gateway.
proxy board.
Mm-hmm. How does that hold?
Hey.
It doesn't.
Well, I have a proxy void ray with a 3-gate follow up with warp gate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like I could
I'm-
see it being able to hold, but it would be hard if you didn't scout and like you were like making a robo and stuff, and your Phoenix was going
I
across
do
the map.
scout. I scout with mothership core just like in PvT proxy locations. So I'd see it. You just kind of like chrono boost your warp gate maybe. You're maybe talking about a different variation of that. I've hit a really early one where like a void ray hits when you have a sentry and a stalker.
Mm-hmm.
Like a really like they're cutting warp gate. They're like on 1 gate at home or something like that.
I'm talking about like a little bit more like all in like gateway all in follow.
Okay.
I face that every once in a while on
I
ladder.
think I've faced that once in a while, but I think just like Phoenix gateway units can hold it okay.
Just
Okay.
add it, go
Especially
up to
if
like
you-
3 gate.
You obviously cut the robo.
Yeah.
and just-
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would just be worried that the gateways would finish too late, and they'd have like 3 void rays or something. One of your gateways would be finished.
How
Well,
early
I
you
always
getting
get a
the mothership
fast-
core, right? Because
That's,
need to
like,
be pretty
really-
early.
Really
You always get a what fast?
It's with the stalker.
So,
Wait, what do you get
Yes.
fast? Or?
Mothership core.
so maybe you
Okay.
could
Well,
look at the
void
legs
rays can
an
force
overcharge.
a void ray. Like one void ray will force an overcharge like immediately if you only have like a sentry and like a Phoenix. So
Yeah, but if Phoenix is your option, you could use the Phoenix against.
Yeah,
the
but the Phoenix
Vortex
isn't
and
out in time
have
because I haven't
Phoenix.
countered it using this build.
Well, no, the
Your
Phoenix won't
is,
be out in time, but your photon overcharge would delay until they're out, and then you'd have gateway units, and you could force field a ramp. I think. I don't know. I honestly I don't
it's
do the
just,
build.
it would be. I don't. Yeah, it would be an
Okay.
interesting matchup.
Against like the super early proxy Stargate, I think the photon overcharge is like almost there as the first void ray hits. So you just kind of have to run away
Mm-hmm.
and wait for your warp gate to finish or something, and then you make your own void ray, and then you just kind of use your advantage. Like you're maybe going to be behind one void ray, but you should have photon overcharge, sentries, and whatnot. So that's actually fairly easy to defend unless you get like caught and lose your mothership core and your first stalker and your first sentry, and then
Mhm.
you're just kind of like boned.
no matter
at
what
that
build
point.
you do, if you lose your mothership core against proxy void ray, you're kind of
Fun.
screwed. That kind of at least.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys remember, like in the beginning of HOTS on Newkirk Precinct, like when they would always proxy Void Ray in that spot? Like, I used to almost always open like 3-gate all in, not 3-gate all in, Stargate 3-gate all in. But like as soon as you scout it, like I would just bop it, with Phoenix. I don't know if it's the same though. Like what's different that you can't do that?
Well, normally you'd have to have 2 Phoenix really to bop it, like to bop a void ray.
Yeah, but you photon overcharge or something. I
Yeah.
guess that's not the build, right?
Well,
He's not going
but you're,
3-gate all in.
yeah, the one the close one, they're skipping warp gate. Their Stargate's going to
Yeah.
be much earlier than your Stargate. They're skipping warp gate and mothership core. So in order for you to have your own Stargate and mothership core, your Stargate's going to be at least like a minute later than theirs.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Against that proxy void ray, the Stargate's usually finishing as their void rays popping.
Yeah.
S- But yeah, again, it's kind of easy to defend if you just run away from the first void ray, and as long as you keep your mothership core alive long enough to get photon overcharge.
Okay.
But and